Okay, so it's me again. I'm gonna break down and talk about a little college football. You feel me? Um, some of the games that we got this week 1 vibes. Really focusing on uh, two of the best ones of week 0 in particular. That everybody's gonna be looking to watch besides just being clamoring to watch football. So you got Sam Hartman transferred from Wake Forest to Notre Dame. Notre Dame last season was 9-4. Wake Forest was 8-5. Sam Hartman the year before led Wake Forest to like an 11-3 record or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, and threw for around 4,000 yards, like 39 touchdowns, like 12, 13 interceptions, or something like that. Really good season. And he's transferring to a school that's better, but playing against a good amount of the same teams. And I think that's going to be a big benefit for Notre Dame because I think now we'll get to see if their program can really ascend and win at the level that a lot of people believe that they're capable of, but that they've struggled to because again they're not able to get the top flight quarterbacks. I'm sorry, like yes, it is a lot of quarterbacks that love Jesus, but well, I don't know. Y'all tell me why Tim Tebow and Trevor Lawrence didn't go to Notre Dame. They both is like super duper I love God as quarterbacks. They didn't. That's not where they went. They went. Tim Tebow went to the projects. He tried to go to the University of Miami Junior. And Trevor Lawrence, like, you feel me? He went to South Carolina. Granted, that's a Bible Belt school, but he didn't go to like a super like religious program, a BYU, Notre Dame type of program. And again, that says plenty about I guess the quality of the program. So now they got a top flight quarterback, a good quarterback, a real quarterback, um, and they're facing off against a team last year that they were up 35 points, all in the half. 1.5 times 35-0 on Notre Dame. They scored 35 points in the first two quarters, scored 0 in the second half, and they won by 3. I think this will be a progressive fight for them. Excuse me. I think it'll start as a gradual figure it out, and Sam Hartman should be able to put himself in a position to be like, man, nah, Notre Dame, mm, I'm good. Like I'm a good quarterback. Get off me. Watch out. Excuse me, Navy. We gonna go. Like, get on my back, Notre Dame. Fuck all that other shit. Let's go ahead. Let's go win it. So I think they should definitely be able to win this game. Some of the important things that I think will come for them, it will definitely be about how they run the ball. It'll be definitely about how they play defense realistically because, again, I think that'll be extremely important just because Navy is a very fundamental program with the offense that they run. So in order to beat a team like that, you got to be able to put yourself in position to not turn the ball over, to manage the clock and control the clock, and then again be able to capitalize and make big plays. Um, Second big game, it'll be at 8 p.m. on Saturday. It'll be San Jose State at USC. Here in LA, it'll be at the Coliseum. And USC, Caleb Williams, he's the first player probably in the last 10, 15 years. I feel like I remember them talking about how Tim Tebow at the time was favored to win the Heisman Trophy the season after he won the Heisman. Granted, again, their season turned out the way that they went. And I think they were undefeated all the way until they played against Alabama. So I think he was probably favored for the Heisman until they lost that game, and then Mark Ingram won it because they won. Um, but he's really good, super duper talented. He's like the anti Patrick Mahomes, right? Whereas Patrick Mahomes is a little more clean cut, and My America, Your America. Caleb Williams low key do it for the hood. He keep it real. He do it for the kids. As Honey goes off out there. Um, USC shouldn't have any problem with San Jose State. They defense might. They defense struggled all year last year and act like they didn't want to play no defense. So again, like if they come in and decide that they want to struggle against San Jose State, it could make for an exciting game. But I think that at the end of the day, um, this guy right here should be the reason why USC wins, why they win a good amount of their games, why other guys get elevated and are able to be seen as the quality talent that they need to be, and as well why USC may look up at the end of the year and be in a very, very big game. I think it's good for college football, honestly. If we looked at what we watched with TCU, it would have been good for everybody to see USC in that position. And again, that's on them. Had they won, we didn't even have to watch TCU. That's the other part. That's the crazy part when you think about how bad TCU, how sad TCU went out last year. If USC don't fuck it up, then TCU makes it in. I mean, excuse me, TCU don't make it in, realistically. So that's what it's all about. USC, I think they want a chance to get into the playoffs. They've never been in the playoffs. Michigan State been in the playoffs, I think, more times than USC has in this time. So, you feel me? They definitely got to get it right. And again, with the transfer portal, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, we knew with NIL at least or the transfer portal, USC wasn't going to be sorry for long. Like, all of that, we can't get players and we can't make the right decisions. You know, Bryce Young going to Bama and C.J. Stroud going to Ohio State, DJ going down to Clemson, and all that's over with. They already done got two of the best top 10 at least quarterbacks in the state of California recently, or Southern California recently, done committed to USC to go there now to fight it out, then see who's going to transfer out. I respect it. Go ahead. That's cool. So again, USC popping again. But you know they wasn't going to continue to suffer with the fools, with that defense shit. So hopefully they brought in the players to be able to do that. And again, that's what Pete Carroll did. When USC was good back in the day, again, they brought in players from all over the country. It wasn't just players just from Southern California. There was a variety of defensive players from all over different places, a variety of offensive and defensive players, secondary guys, skill position guys. They were from Los Angeles, California, but a lot of guys they also brought from other places too. They got USC favored by 30.5, 30 and a half against San Jose State. If they defense is who they should be, then they probably is going to whoop them by 30 points though, because Caleb and them going to run it up, and they should be turning out them 3 and outs. But if not, then I think it's going to be closer to like a 10 to 15 point game for USC. I think they're going to win regardless, but it's interesting that betting wise, until the day of the game, they're not going to let people decide or people bet on whether or not USC going to win. But they'll let you bet on whether or not USC going to win by 30 and a half and steal all these people money. Because if USC don't win by 30 and a half, but it's a close game, you going to feel crazy that you couldn't bet like on that, possibly, I guess, potentially. And again, it's also going to look crazy for people if the damn they expecting USC to cover by 30 and a half points, and USC only cover by 10 to 15, which I think that they might. 30 is a lot if your defense weak. I'm just saying. Like, think about it. 30? That's 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's crazy. So they saying the score could be 31 to what? 10? 14? No. Hell no. That's what I'm saying. Like 31 to what? 0? Like, that's what I'm saying. What are they saying? They saying that USC gonna give up how many points? How many is they saying USC gonna score? What was their average last year? 38? 34? Jesus Christ. Yeah, USC blew it last year. They were highest ranked was 6. They blew it. They should have been in the playoffs. Woo! 41 points a game. How many points per game did they give up? Woo! No, then what the problem is? Okay, there we go. So they scored 41. They gave up 29.2. 10 points. Man, they stealing y'all money. They go get y'all though. It's cool. Good luck. Florida versus Utah week 2. You feel me? That's gonna be a good game. We definitely excited for that one. Um, I think my Gators are gonna win that game, just like they did last year. They're gonna hurt Utah feelings, and if they don't win, it'll be because Utah got an experienced quarterback who is very, very, very good. I ain't gonna lie, he is that boy. Um, Desmond Ritter, I think is his name. I don't know what my boy name is. Yep, that's his name. I know it. I just know it is. Boy, stupid ass boy. This nigga name is Cam Rising. Cam Rising last year had 3,034 yards passing, 26 touchdowns, 8 INTs. And Utah was 10-4. Conference 7-2. They lost the Rose Bowl against Penn State. That's bullshit. Last year, their only losses were UCLA, who was on my watch out for them list, for USC. Again, I think USC need to watch out for UCLA because they getting good quality players, not just transfers. They got a lot of dudes who've been there longer than just got there. USC gonna have to get some hogs up front in order to win for real. And if they want to do anything, that's what it's gonna be about. You got to go get some people that's able to go up there and slap some folks in the mouth and really push some shit aside. And USC ain't really had that necessarily the last few years. Um, Last year, the score was 26-29. Obviously, my Gators had the alien Anthony Richardson out there, so obviously that makes the game a lot different. Um, Shit. Anthony Richardson had 168 yards passing, no passing touchdowns, but also had 106 yards rushing. Um, and 3 touchdowns. So he basically was the Florida Gators' best running back, and they also had a running back that ran for 75 yards, and another running back, Trevor Etienne, gets 64 yards. So they bludgeoned the shit out of Utah, 283 yards, 106 from the quarterback itself, and 3 touchdowns from him. Um, and again, that game was close because Florida got good defense, so the game is gonna be close. You ain't finna just walk off on them. Anthony Richardson helped them score 15 points in the fourth quarter, like 2 yard run. Tavion Thomas Montreal had a 14-yard run. So again, Florida played good in the fourth quarter. That's gonna be a really good game and a really close game too. Um, Coastal Carolina at UCLA. I think that's gonna be a really good game, a really interesting game. Coastal Carolina has been a really good program over the last few years, for real. Um, Again, they produce some really quality pros. The one I can think of off the top of my head most notably is Josh Norman. Last year they was 9-4, 6-2 in the conference. They got a new coach. Last year before that they was 11-2. They was 11-1 in 2020. So you feel me? And it was 5-7 recently too. So I can shut up. Coastal Carolina's a good team. The Chanticleers. I think this is gonna be a good game for Chip Kelly's team too. Like just a good group of guys, a good team for them to play against, to match up against, to really see what they look like after Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who had a really good NFL preseason. At 12 o'clock that Saturday, Colorado at Texas Christian University. So TCU, the runner-up in the national championship last year, who got blew out by 50, 100 million, 1,000 points. When it should have been Alabama, but everybody's tired of Nick Saban, so they trying to act like he's falling off, so they didn't put him in there, trying to fuck up his recruiting. They playing against Colorado, so this Deion Sanders' first game at the on the top level. We gonna see. I think this is a good matchup, but TCU gonna have some vets and some dogs, some niggas who just went through a national championship. They know what it's like to work, so they should for sure be favored against Colorado. But again, if these boys that Dion coaching is who they supposed to be though, Colorado gonna fuck around and win this game. I ain't even got no doubts about that. I like Sonny Dykes or whoever they coach is at TCU. I respect them. This ain't no Dion hype shit. It's just about at the end of the day, like you pulling in them kind of players and that level of talent and stuff like that, then it's no reason why we shouldn't expect and we shouldn't look up at the end of this season and it's a chance that you done turned around and you done did something big. And again, by way of something big, we mean pulled off a few good wins, a few real good wins. Um, they was 11-2 last year. The only game they lost was to what? Uh, Kansas State, and in the national championship, 67 million, 100,000 billion million to 7. They shouldn't even have them niggas out there, boy. That's crazy. They fucking with Nick Saban. South Carolina, North Carolina. Um, I like Mac Brown. Mac Brown, we seen him do it last with the University of Texas when he was younger. He took some time off, went and did TV, got back right, got back fly, swaggy, back dancing in the locker room and dancing on teams' graves. North Carolina might be a team that could finish in the top 5 this year. They could, if they handle their business, be this year's TCU and not get in the playoffs to get blew out because they got all the makers of that and a good quarterback who usually when he gets to this kind of stage and phase at this moment is able to be that guy. Spencer Rattler, who has been a quarterback prospect and a quarterback that people have been looking to see, is who he'll be facing off against in that game. So it's going to be a good game. I think that's going to be a big game. That might be the best game of the first 2 weeks of the college football season, that South Carolina versus North Carolina game. Because, again, that's two teams that can end up in the top 25, if not the top 10 at the end of the season. With two quarterbacks, again, in the draft could be picked in the top 15 to 20 to 30. All right? I did a lot. I just scaled it back because Spencer Rattler, I don't think Spencer Rattler getting in the top 15. But, again, with two quarterbacks that could be drafted in the top 35 to 40 picks in the draft, and that's good. That's the top. It's 32 teams, so that's 10. That's every team plus 10 more. That's cool. We'll take it. Give or take a few, we'll take it. And I think North Carolina should win because I think Mac Brown has shown that he's one of the best college football coaches ever. He don't never get talked about. They don't never talk about how great Mac Brown is. Never talk about Mac Brown as one of the greatest college football coaches ever. But he's one of the greatest coaches ever, and he's older. He goes some Pete Carroll shit to me. He done came back to North Carolina and got them right. They good. They've been good for the last like 5 or 6 years. Let's check North Carolina out. Last year 9-5. 6-7 in 2021. 8-4. 7-6. Larry Fedora went 2-9 in 2018, 3-9 in 2017. You feel me? So Mac Brown got some work to do, but he trying to work that shit around, work that thing, make that thing shake. And then you got a pretty good matchup, a future Big 10 matchup, excuse me. West Virginia and Penn State. West Virginia's been good the last few years, but they ain't really had no breakthrough. That's a Pat McAfee team. He really likes them. That's one of the main reasons, probably why I picked this game, just because he mentioned it. We'll see how that game goes. Penn State is number 7 in the country, so again, I expect them to come out and be a little bit dominant in that game and be able to show their worth and show who it is they are. Late in the game, established. Again, last year West Virginia played Tennessee, who ended up being a really good team, real tough. So again, it could be another moment where we get to see how good a team like Penn State, who may finish in the top 10 to 15, hopefully they hope in the top 5. See how good that they are early. Again, they were able to beat Alabama early this year, and again, that West Virginia game may have been a tester, so maybe this will show why Penn State is able to beat Ohio State later in the year, maybe, right? And then lastly, we have Florida State and FSU versus LSU. Jaden Daniels versus Jordan Travis here. Right, one of the few Heisman on Heisman matchups of the first few weeks of the season. Um, What's up, Shorty? I'm good. How about you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you said you was gonna have a client, and then you told me that they were gonna be late, so that's all right. You want me to set it for 8:30? All right, Shorty. So guess what? It is now set. I said no need for the road raging, no need for the stressing and rushing. It is set for 8:30. You feel me? Yeah, you're welcome. Don't worry. Yeah, I just want to see you and enjoy your time and enjoy talking with you and eating with you. So it's like, well, like, yeah, but exactly, exactly. And again, like I'm somebody who naturally just take just a few more minutes for whatever reason. It's gonna make me tardy. So again, like I tend to now make time to not be tardy. Like I set the time ahead of time. So it's like it's supposed to be at 8. We said 8, but it's really at 8:15. So we pull up and it's not even really like we feeling like rushing and like that. So now it's at 8:30. So we good. Nobody could be late. So. All right. Well, I'm not gonna talk your ear off because I plan on doing that later. So I'm gonna let you go ahead and get your drive on, listen to some music. Okay. I want to check this podcast out with me. Well, I'll holler at you. Okay. Bye. Um, last year's game between LSU and North Carolina, excuse me, and FSU went down to the wire. um, that shit was crazy. Realistically, that shit was crazy. Boy, they had them boys out there fighting for their life. And I think LSU barely won because somebody, they had a muff punt like at the last second of the game. No, they lost 24-34. Or excuse me, 24-23. They lost by 1 point. Jordan Travis had 260 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Jaden Daniels had 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Travis rushed for 8 yards or 8 attempts for 31 yards. Jaden Daniels had 16 carries for 114. Yeah, that's when I knew Jaden Daniels was more real than I thought because he was in the pocket at you at Arizona State. That's what I'm saying. The transfer portal done showed us some shit. I don't give a fuck what nobody talking about. People talking about they don't like the transfer portal and all that stuff. They don't like the transfer portal because they school's still weak. It ain't because the transfer portal ain't it. It's not. It's the transfer portal is popping. We like it. We like it. All right. So to hurry up and make this quick, because I ain't gonna spend a whole lot of time. Um, we're gonna talk about the Heisman Award a little bit, and I'm probably just gonna pull some players off of these list of teams while we talk a little bit about that. That I think might produce a guy who could possibly win the Heisman Trophy. So the top 25 teams right now, we just gonna go with Associated Press. Well, I like the coaches poll realistically because I mean it's the coaches. They said at number 25 they've got TCU. I mean, excuse me, Texas A&M. They got A&M, Texas Tech, Tulane, Ole Miss, Wisconsin, North Carolina. That is number 25 to number 20. I think North Carolina is a quality team that we could look at finishing in the top 25 very, very high. Realistically, having read the coaches poll, which I'm going to stick to the coaches poll, I got North Carolina as the number one team just to mention on my list. They're number 20 on the coaches. They're number one on my list. Number six, so number two on my list is USC. Right, they are number 6 on the coaches poll. Excuse me. Notre Dame is number 13. Colorado is unranked currently on the coaches poll as far as I can see. As we pull it out, pause, to the complete rankings. Other teams receiving votes. Do we see Colorado in here? No. Air Force getting more votes than Colorado right now. Memphis, James Madison, Kansas, Arizona, Duke, BYU, Houston, Washington State, Toledo, Wake Forest, Air Force, again, if I said that already, Illinois, Alabama, South Alabama, Jesus Christ, SMU, Maryland, Missouri, Oklahoma State, Mississippi, Minnesota, Mississippi State, excuse me, Minnesota, Miami, Auburn, Boise State, NC State, Fresno State, Arkansas, Troy, Baylor, Kentucky, UCLA, Pittsburgh, Utah, Florida, hell yeah, South Carolina, hell yeah, Iowa. I'm reading all of those off though because we gonna have to go back and see how many of these teams that they got on here that was getting more votes than Colorado at the end of this, at the beginning, is better at the end. Well, we gonna get to see Deion in the bowl. Like that's what I'm saying though. Some of this disrespect. I know they was the worst team in college football last year, but they beat Toledo. Like stop. In Miami, yeah, that's crazy. Um, Oregon State is number 18. UCLA is unranked in the coaches poll, receiving 42 votes. Um, Florida State, they had number 8. Niggas is lying. Florida should be unranked because they ass lost to Oregon State. And the first time they was never scored no points in a bowl game in a grip of years. Texas is number 12. Miami is unranked. Jackson State's unranked. Alabama, they number 3. Tennessee is number 10. Oklahoma's number 19. All righty. So from number 20, we go Oklahoma at 19, Oregon State at 18, Kansas State at 17, TCU at 16, Oregon at 15. I think Oregon is going to be a good team this year. They always tend to be pretty good. Kansas State as well. They had a good quarterback last year, and they ran up a check. They were actually very good last year, so I think Kansas State may be good. Even though they did lose their running back, and Deuce Vaughn, he was really, really a beast. I think he's going to be good for the Cowboys this year. And Oregon State, they got a better quarterback perspective. So, again, like, realistically, their quarterback stunk it up last year as well. And they've gotten DJ now, who's at least familiar with the West Coast, familiar with West Coast football. I think he'll be able to drop into Pac-12 football and be relatively successful, especially because I think those systems are a little more intricate than what Clemson chooses to kind of play off of. so that should benefit them. From number 15, we go 14 is Utah, 13 is Notre Dame, 12 is Texas. This is the sweet spot. This is the teams that can end up in that top 5 range uh, without disappointing. Like they can surprise people, and people be talking about that again. Oh wow, they turned around and made that run. Like TCU, I think they're gonna end at number 8, 9, 10 range, possibly at their best this year. At their worst, they're gonna fall out. But again, like Utah, they could finish in the top 5, top 10. They can finish in the top 5. They beat goddamn USC 2 times. They going to the playoffs with Cameron Rising, Sam Hartman. I told y'all about what I thought about Sam Hartman earlier. Excuse me, and what he could possibly be for Notre Dame. And again, that team could rise and end up in that top 5 range, top 3 range, top 4 range. Texas, Big 12 team, excuse me, if they're able to win in the Big 12 this year and beat Oklahoma, win the conference championship, beat Baylor, hold off all of the teams that they need, TCUs and West Virginias and all of these things, they could turn around and, if they beat Alabama and they win the conference, they going to the playoffs. They going to push these Sarkisian ass in the playoffs. Straight up. Washington, I think they're good, but again, I don't see them as the team rising above defensively. Oregon and USC and Utah to have to beat all 3 of them teams, and Oregon to have to beat Oregon, USC, Utah, UCLA. That's a lot. Oregon State. That's 5 teams that Oregon got to beat, and I think they got to play all 5 of them teams. If Oregon got to play all 5 of them teams, I don't see no way they finna do that. If they do that again, they going to the national championship. That's why this is the sweet spot. That is indeed why this is the sweet spot. And then you got Tennessee. I don't see it happening. They got to beat Florida. They got to beat Georgia. They got to beat Alabama, possibly. You feel me? Oh, they got to beat the whole hood. If they do that, they crazy. They was better. Their quarterback was better last year, respectively, than this year, but they'll be more confident last year than this year. So, I mean, let's go ahead and put Tennessee. Oh, Tennessee is on my list of my top 25. My Zach ranks team, though, they down there at the bottom 14. They 13 on my list. Really, they're number 12 because Jackson State don't count. We just want to see what's going to happen with them now that Deion gone. They connected to Colorado at the top, realistically. Like, Colorado and Jackson State is connected because we watch Jackson State to see what's going to happen. Just what they're going to look like without Deion, for real. We're here to check Oregon's schedule. Come on, they got to play Texas Tech, who is actually good, Deion in Colorado, Washington, Utah, USC, and Oregon State. Okay, so they're going to dodge the bullet of having to play UCLA. But again, other teams that I said, I definitely said that they got to play USC, Utah, Oregon State. Whoops. They also got to play my bad. This not even what's to call it. This is not even Oregon. My bad. I'm not even supposed to be looking at Oregon. I'm supposed to be looking at Washington. That's why Oregon ain't going to the national championship. Bitch, shut up. So Washington, they got to play Michigan State early in the season for week 3. They got to play Oregon for week 6. They play USC, Utah, Oregon State. You could look up at them last 3 games of the season. They could be undefeated going into week 9 and be 3 losses in a row after they get done with week 11. No cap. So I don't believe in Washington. I like them being in the sweet spot because they're good. They got a good quarterback. But again, if they handle their business like that and they ball like that, then that quarterback that they got, he probably going to push them into being a Heisman type of team, realistically. So, I mean, I think Washington could be very good, but I don't necessarily believe in it. They were 11-2 last year though. Maybe we'll hit up Coach Bino and see what he thinks about that. Number 10, Tennessee. I spoke on Tennessee already. Don't necessarily see it happening. I think that's a tough task to have to handle. Okay, so that right underneath that, right above the sweet spot, is the team that you know ain't gonna be there. Whoever end up at 11-12, get your ass over that shit hella fast, cause y'all done. Y'all not going nowhere. I don't know too many 11-12 teams that, or excuse me, 11-10 teams that ended up winning the national championship. Unfortunately for y'all. From here, we're gonna go to 9, from 9 to 5, because then the teams that are in the top four, the teams that's probably gonna be in the top four all season, barring them fucking it up against one of the teams that's realistically in that top 9 to 5, which is crazy. Damn, that's crazy. I never looked at this like this. This is cool. I broke the whole thing down, didn't I? And then the Hunters. Damn, that's crazy. Right? We gonna call that the teams that's in the hunt for holy hell. Because again, right, you getting that shit, you a team that can't lose no games, all this other bullshit. You need goddamn this technological scenario and that scenario and all this other shit. I don't let it get dark than a bitch in here. I'm tripping. Y'all didn't tell me it was dark in here. Um, you got Clemson, Clemson, Florida State, Penn State, a lot of blue bloods, USC, LSU, and that's it. Clemson, K gonna have to show it to me. K Lubick, he's gonna have to show me. If he does, though, then again he'll be clearly on this list, clearly climbing that ladder, clearly showing people his worth and who he is and what he's capable of. But I don't know about all that because Clemson, again, somebody had mentioned that they think DJ Uiagalelei, if I said that right, is going to thrive possibly more at Oregon State because it's more of a complete system on offense and it's not just we better than them, throw the ball. That's crazy. So I don't know if I see Clemson getting it done. I think by the end of the season, Oregon State could be better than Clemson, realistically. Same thing with North Carolina. Florida State, ACC. They gonna have them two teams gonna have to battle it out. And Notre Dame might be better than both of them at the end of the day this year. We just gonna have to wait and see. And North Carolina, I think North Carolina and Notre Dame will be better than Clemson and FSU. This is cool, right? Because I get to kind of put together who it is I think, what it is I think, and then I get to go back and I get to see, like I said at the beginning of the video, who was really going to be. We write Georgia in big caps. Um, Penn State, if they're who they should be this year, I don't know who their quarterback is. Um, Man, anybody worry about Penn State, bro? They gonna have to show us. I don't care. USC, LSU. Uh, if LSU do what they do this year, we looking at LSU in that conference championship game against Georgia, maybe again. And if I'm not mistaken, they played Georgia tough last year in the conference championship game, right? Yeah, LSU one of the best programs. Like if you go back and you do a best programs of the decade though, or the last century kind of thing, or the last not century, the last 20 years, 10, 15 to 20 years, LSU is firmly in there though because again, bro, they may not be in the national championship. Damn, they beat the shit out of Purdue, 63-7. It's crazy. Uh, oh God, I said it was close against Georgia. Why did I lie to y'all like that? They got blew out by 20 points. Georgia was playing had a okay, so Georgia actually probably could have played beat an NFL team last year or played good against the NFL team last year. They finished the season last year beating everybody by like 30 points. God damn. The last game they had with close was Kentucky. It probably was raining that day or something. Or niggas was sleeping. They must have went out partying or something. Mississippi State 45-19. Tennessee was a close game. Florida 40-20. 55-0. 42-10. 26-22. Missouri's always good. Kent State 39-22. They beat the dog shit out of Oregon. Yeah, Georgia crazy. Um, LSU. I mean, that's up to y'all. We'll see what y'all will do, I guess. Right? USC, I think I'm more believing in what USC will end up doing in that position than I am in LSU, just because USC's road isn't as hard as LSU's. Pause. They got to play Florida State is the only non-conference game. Mississippi State, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Auburn, Alabama, Florida, A&M. It's a pretty tough schedule. They should probably lose one game. They either have one loss or should be undefeated. Anything else, then now we looking at LSU crazy because that don't even make no damn sense. They shouldn't lose. Yeah, LSU shouldn't lose more than one game this year. Well, USC, they could be anything that they want to be for real. We know what's good with USC. They defense just got to hold it down and hold it up. Shit. They got the quarterback. They got the skill position guys. Honestly, some of the more talented players in the country, possibly. And they balled out last year. They stepped up to the table. Obviously, Jordan Addison and all them guys is gone. Jordan Addison's gone. Travis Dye is gone. Or Troy Dye is gone. So they got some guys that are going to step up and fill in. But with the Heisman Trophy winner on your team, like, he going to be able to at least lead y'all part of the way. But again, then at the same time, though, if they not the same, it's going to show. And relying on Caleb Williams to do it all is not going to get them there. So, realistically, we're going to have to see about that shit, too. Georgia, Michigan, Bama, Ohio State. Shit, we'll see when they get rolling and get balling what it'll be with them. But at the end of the day, we know that is the top brands in the game, baby. And ain't nothing going to change that until somebody beat them realistically. So, until then, I will see y'all later. This was a little bit of a speed run through this shit. I'm going to post some of these clips and some of these little excerpts of what I got to say. I got to remember to turn the light out when I'm in here. Turn the light on when I'm in here because it was almost just a black face with teeth talking into the screen for a little bit. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to anybody that's going to watch now. Shout out to anybody that's going to watch later. You get a cool 45. I got Sadetsky. Peace out.